Man, I gotta tell you, I'm still messed up. I need to see this news story and I want to understand what happened. I want to see if the BBC has more news, more details on exactly what happened. I woke up to messages from my friends and stuff. It's just crazy. It's like nobody can believe it, and I'm already hearing, yeah, you know what I'm hearing. And if you don't know what I'm saying, just look in the comments. People are saying it already, and I'm just like, man. So let's take a look at this, and I will give my commentary as usual. Scarlo was real good to me last night. When I walked in the bedroom and I told her, because we were both in bed, and I came out after I got all the notifications and I did the video and I went back, and I told her, I said, the creator of Dragon Ball died. And she was like, huh? What? Like she was kind of, I guess, almost asleep or whatever. And she was like, what? And I said, the creator of Dragon Ball died. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And then when she asked me, was I okay? And I was like, yeah. I said, it's such a shock, and I didn't know it was going to affect me the way that it did. You truly realize how much is him and his writing and his characters, animation, the manga, how much it truly was embedded in me as a young man and stuff. And, she was trying to hug me and make sure that I was okay. And, she's a good girlfriend. I was like, it's all right. I was like, I'm going to be all right, And I said, though, but I could still feel it like welling up. I was like, feeling like I was definitely going to cry. I know a bunch of grown men and young men all around the planet were weeping for this because it's like he is these characters. They all came from his mind. And as a fan, you're like wondering, you're like, will it be the same? I heard that there is an artist out there that has continued in his footsteps, a protege, so to speak, and he's done really well. So that's good to have someone to carry on your work faithfully. You see, this is the reason I want all the gigantic companies that watch us to understand this. We lost a titan in the manga, anime area of entertainment. This man is a literal god in that entertainment. Greatest of all time, okay? The fear, the worry that comes with it, including the sorrow that we've lost a great one like that, but to wonder if they will carry on his characters properly is a fear that is going on with all of the fandom, because they want to make sure that it faithfully continues with what he would want. The big companies need to understand that fear that we have is alive and well in Western entertainment, with how you are destroying our current favorite characters. Keep that in mind. Continue to stay faithful to these characters, or you're going to continue to lose billions of dollars. Getting back to this, I want to see what happened.
The creator of Dragon Ball, one of the most influential and best-selling Japanese comics, has died at the age of 68. Akira Toriyama was 68. An official statement said he'd suffered a blood clot on the brain. Dragon Ball was first serialised 40 years ago. It became a huge hit worldwide, spawning cartoons, films and video games. The series features a boy who collects magical balls containing dragons to defend the world from evil enemies. The studio said he was working on several projects when he died. Well, for more on this,
I can tell whoever wrote that wasn't a Dragon Ball fan.
Let's speak to Dr. Raina Dennison, a professor in film and digital arts at the University of Bristol. Tell us about the legacy that he leaves behind.
Akira Toriyama is one of the most influential manga artists that there has ever been. He's influenced a whole genre of manga in Japan, known as shonen manga or boys manga, which is the most popular in Japan and around the world, influencing creators of shows and manga like Naruto and One Piece, of course, as well as being someone who has influenced everything from art exhibitions through to protests in places like South America. He's a huge influential figure within this field.
You know what I'm wondering? There were people in the comments section saying, they were like, yo, this is real young for someone that's Japanese. And I thought that to myself, but I was too messed up. Let me see something here. Average Japanese mortality. 74.8 years. Yeah, so this was young. It was young, period. It bothers me so much because I know he has so much more to give, and they said he had other projects.
And tell us particularly about Dragon Ball. We can see some characters on the screen there. That in particular, a huge franchise. Many of our viewers will know it very well.
It came around in the 1980s, in 1984, and
Goku
was perfectly situated in a growing manga and media market in Japan. And so it got adapted into animation, famously into Dragon Ball Z, the second part of an anime series that really took the world by storm. So the manga's been adapted into over, I think, 21 different countries and languages now. And
Man, I remember Goku and Vegeta had me training hard, man. Like, sometimes I wouldn't want to go to the gym. And I would see a Dragon Ball Z episode, and I'd be like, well, time to go. And if it was too late, like if I was watching it at night and I didn't work out that day, I would do the workout at home. Get down and start doing them push-ups, man.
Anime was broadcast originally in, I think, 36 different countries, so has had just this perfect international spread as part of its history. And that's led to it becoming popular around the world, but also becoming a major franchise within and outside of Japan. There's now, I think, about 17 different animated feature films. And the sales of the manga alone hit around 160 million copies.
Would you credit Akira Toriyama with helping to kind of put manga on the international map?
Absolutely, yes. He
probably
came around in a time when fans were starting to...
I know a lot of you know more about manga than I do. So, but he's the guy that no matter what, I'm always hearing. Like, literally, I don't have any other manga artist's name burned into my brain and memory other than him. I've heard of other guys here and there, but I can't remember their names for the life of me. But this guy, I know.
Growing number around the world, and where fandoms were starting to share texts. The first time I came across Dragon Ball was when a friend from China introduced me to the manga when I was living in South Yorkshire. So it's an amazingly well-traveled story. And it starts in China. It's an adaptation, actually, of Journey to the West, with Son Goku, the main character, being named for Sun Wukong, the Monkey King.
And in terms of his political influence as well, we touched on it briefly, but how did he have a political influence in Japan and beyond?
Yes. He was quite a quiet figure, quite a reclusive figure, but he's always been very careful about controlling his materials within inside Japan, and he's been very popular there for generations because I think his stories don't just tell the stories of a successful character, they tell the stories of resilience and determination needed to become a success.
Very true.
And this is something I think we see reflected in places like Chile with their recent student-led marches using actual Dragon Ball replicas as part of their protests.
And just one more question, if I may. I mean, how would you also credit Akira Toriyama of kind of spreading Japanese culture more widely around the world? I mean, kawaii is huge now as well. There's even an exhibition in London. You know, a lot of people have kind of copied that imagery, whether it's manga or kawaii, beyond Japan.
And you know what I think? You know, it was big in Japan, and then once it became big here, you know, a lot of things, once they become big in America, they spread everywhere else. And I think that's what did it, man. I mean, it exploded over here. And I remember, I used to go to this comic book store that was at the Echelon Mall in Voorhees, New Jersey. And I went there, and it was the first place I saw the Dragon Ball Z tapes on sale. Dubbed. Ocean dub, right? And I just started collecting them. And I was with a girlfriend at the time, Miss Jackson. Oh, that was a long time ago. I was 22 years old then, I think. And I bought the tape, one of the tapes. And then as a present, she bought me the next tape a few weeks later. And, you know, that's a good trait for girlfriends to have, to pay attention to you and what you like, to get you, you know. So I was just like, and she was into it too. So that was a good thing. And then I started to learn about the Japanese tapes that you could find. And I guess they were bootlegged back then. But I would go to this store, I think it was on South Street in Philly. And that is where I was about to buy some tapes, and the guy said to me, he said, if you've only seen the guy that owned the store, he's like, if you've only seen the English, I suggest you do not try to get any of the tapes because you'll be lost. The tapes of the series. He said, I suggest you watch the movies because they're self-contained. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, what do you suggest? He was like, this is a really good one. Guess who it was? Kakaroto. Yeah. Man. Yo. I got both. I think I got the first Broly movie, and then I went back to get the second one after I saw the first one. And of course, I went to get the third one later and was very disappointed. However, those first two, I love them. Those dubs are better than the American. The music is better. The voice acting is better. I don't care what anyone says. Absolutely, the main reason is, to me, is because Broly sounds more insane and savage with that voice actor, with the Japanese voice actor. And I had a boy that saw the English one, and I said, listen, I got the Japanese dub. I want you to watch this, and you tell me what you think. I gave it to him, worked the next day. He was like, yo! I was like, I said he's way more savage the way he's voiced. He's like crazy, insane savage, right? He was like, yo, I told you. I never watched the English version. And I'm a fan of the English versions, period, for almost anything else that I watch that is Dragon Ball. But when it comes to Broly, I prefer the Japanese dub, period.
Indeed, yes. So Toriyama's Dragon Ball featured in the British Museum's manga exhibition a few years ago.
Okay.
And he's a major figure in spreading a particular kind of aesthetic that has become known as the manga aesthetic. He's certainly been hugely influential, particularly within the boys genre. So less in terms of kawaii, but more in terms of the kinds of humor and action that manga are famous for now. There's a trope of the spiky-haired boy, and that's very much a Toriyama popularized creation, I think.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Raina Dennison.
And I guess that's what they talk about when they'll say, you know, he's a typical. They'll say, yeah, this character is the typical manga, you know, protagonist, and they all have that. It's always dark hair. The majority of the time, it's always dark hair, kind of short and spiky in some form or fashion. You know, not all of it's brown or black, but it's usually dark hair. I've noticed that. Naruto has blonde, spiky hair, so you know. But man, I still can't believe it. This seriously is still bothering me. It's gonna bother me for a while. And I'm going to continue to watch everybody's videos, you know, where they're talking about it, you know, see if there's anything else, you know, that I could learn. I saw a video where someone was saying that he actually changed the trajectory of Vegeta because of the popularity over here in the West. That he had become so popular that, you know, I guess you could say, in a way, he was almost forced to give the fans more of Vegeta. But, you know, it was kind of it was a slap in the face when we watched Resurrection of F, because it was like, oh, come on, are you serious? He was just about to finish Frieza, man. But I remember reading, I think it was a Shonen Jump or something. I remember, I'll never forget, it was in the Acme that is near where I live. And I went there to that magazine collection, and I saw it, and it said, who is the most popular Dragon Ball Z character? And I was like, I think it's Vegeta, because at that time Vegeta had become my favorite. And I opened it up, and I'm like, yep, Goku number 2, Vegeta number 1. And they explained it, and they talked about it. It was like, yo, it's just, even though he plays second fiddle a lot at that time especially, it was something about his determination. And to me, it was mainly the voice acting. It was the voice acting. You know, it went from the first guy, you know, that spoke like, hello, Kakarot. You know, I remember them describing it in the magazine as his voice having an annoying hiss. I remember that. Hello, Kakarot. And then, from what I understand with Chris Sabat, which I swear I ran into at a bar, in a bar wing place in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I swear it was him. He was wearing the hat. He had the beard, the way he knew it. I was like, I swear it was him. I wanted to go up to him. But anyway, I heard that Chris Sabat was told to, I guess, give his best impression of that voice. You know, his voice is deeper, so he was more like, hello, Kakarot. He had more of that type of, you know, instead of, hello, Kakarot. So anyway, yeah, Vegeta's my favorite. But anyway, I think that's why. And I think that's cool when you listen to the fans. You know, always go in your direction. But if there's a direction you can take that'll definitely make the fans happy, do it. You know, I'm glad he finally gave Piccolo his due. You know what I mean? Because Piccolo has been, you know, a lot of us were not happy with the direction they had taken Piccolo. And I'm so glad that Piccolo is now, like, you know, in that Super Saiyan Blue League or whatever. So, but, yeah. Rest in peace again. And I hope we have so many more years of entertainment with them, and they are faithfully adapting what he would want. Post comments down below. Let me know what you think. 2 million subscribers. Woo.